we've done so much prepping that I'm sorry we did the whole podcast without you guys watching because
did.
we've been talking for a few minutes. But all right, Dave Grove, we are here to do a Restore AI episode. We're recording at Interconnect. This event has been really good so far.
Has been.
Did you sit in on the keynote?
I did not.
Like, maybe I shouldn't ask you that, but that's okay. That's all right. There was a lot going on today and a lot of meetings, and I know everybody was really busy. I've seen you around, so I know you've been
I've been on the phone
working
a lot today.
Yes. So, okay, and you and I have both gotten a lot of comments about the podcast so far.
Yes. It's been really great feedback, and I appreciate everybody's feedback.
Yes. So if you're listening to these and you have questions that you want Dave to tackle, and when it comes to AI or a conversation you want us to have, you can email me or him, and we'll add a comment box in where this podcast is too, so people can like add comments and send, please.
Or hit me on LinkedIn or wherever
you
you
can find
me.
us. It's not hard.
Yes, we're everywhere.
Go to AI somehow. How do I don't know. So, okay, we had a lot of rabbit holes that we were going to maybe try to talk about, but I think that we should start, if we're going to start kind of like from the top. We're recording this beginning of 2026, and from my perspective of somebody that's truly not into AI all that much, it feels like things are calming down a little bit. I wouldn't say the race is done, but I feel a little bit of like
there's some consolidation happening. There's some people are starting to fall off, the ones that aren't necessarily successful. And then the bigger guys, you're starting to see who's actually leading the races, right? Where you have Google really leading the race, Claude's kind of right there. OpenAI's taken a pretty big step back, and you just never know when they'll take another big step forward.
Yep.
And then xAI, of course, kind of always jumps between those three, it seems like. And, that's overall generally, they all have their niches and the things they're good at.
Yeah.
Where OpenAI is falling a little bit behind, but where we're seeing it not be so complicated is the people that are good at like voice. They're becoming the one company that's good at voice, or the ones that are good at chat, they're becoming the one company that's good at chat. So people are starting to dial in what tools are actually good and what's junk.
Yes.
Right.
So if you were looking at, I guess, the things maybe that you do in Built, or what's out there in AI in general, if you were to look at a restoration contractor and say, if you only do one thing in AI in the next 6 months, this is what I would recommend you do.
In the next 6 months?
I was going to say year, but that's way too long for AI because it'll be totally different by the time they do something in October.
I think everybody should already be past the point of using it for emails and other things, right? So I'd say in the next 6 months, you really would want to focus on at least doing a few automations.
Okay.
Where maybe automated emails are going out, or you're automating your social media. That's something that's fairly simple to do. And one thing I am telling a lot of other restoration contractors that I'm friends with to do is maybe hire somebody to do some AI initiatives for you, whether that's part-time as a subcontractor or a full-time hire. Should have somebody trying to focus on automations and doing the things that making you dashboards, that those kind of things.
So what kind of dashboards? You talked about that a little bit before we started recording, and leaning into AI to create dashboards. What kind of dashboards?
So the simple ones would be just like your regular BI dashboards, right? Like you're just maybe looking through your financials or your job data, and you want it organized a certain way so you can do analytics. But there's certain dashboards you can build. A simple one we built the other day was we want to start doing quarterly reviews more. Quarterly reviews for us have always been paper.
Yeah.
And then somebody loses that paper, doesn't hand it to HR or whatever, and then even HR's got this big file, right? So we made those electronic a long time ago, fillable, but they still end up in a file folder somewhere.
Okay.
So I was like, well, let's automate something and just make it a little app where we go in, fill it out. Then every employee has a login. They can see their statistics over time of how they're doing, how they've done, right, where they're going. And they can look back the whole history of when they've been there. So, and the guy built it in maybe 20 minutes. I mean, it wasn't a super hard project, but something like that's an automation. You can just take a piece of paper that you already have, or a fillable PDF you already have, and make it into something automated and easily
Well, that has so much value to it too. That's going to help you as a leader figure out if there should be maybe compensation changes or
Yes.
other things, like see long term, and also get more buy-in from your team
Yep.
as well, because they can actually see it and aren't just waiting for the piece of paper and then they lose it and it's like, what did I get last time?
Yeah.
So
And then some of the other automations would just be like connecting your systems. Like maybe my Encircle doesn't talk to my PSA. That's a kind of a weird one, but maybe you can do a data dump out of this, and then there's an automation that can be made that automatically sends it over through N8N or something like Zapier, you know.
okay. You were talking a little bit also about, which is kind of irrelevant to the industry, I guess, but I found it interesting. What was the update that you were saying about Apple and Apple Intel, the direction that they've gone with their
Yes. So Apple
intelligence.
decided to use a closed version of Gemini, which is Google's Gemini, for the new Siri. So Siri, in a pretty short amount of time, will be out, but Siri will basically use Google's model to work. But it'll still be a closed system, so like Apple's very serious about data
Yeah.
safety and
Yeah.
their product and things. So it'll still be a closed Apple environment, but it'll take all the historical data that Gemini has and
Mhm.
those smarts to make Siri less dumb.
Plus, she is really dumb and really frustrating. The amount of times you ask her something and she's like, I don't know. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I know that you don't know, but I thought I would try. I don't know.
But that seemed to like surprise you, and I think the reason it surprises a lot of people is because you would think Apple would have just built it.
Yes, it did
They're
surprise
one of the
me.
biggest companies, but I do not think Apple wanted to continue to invest in the data centers, to continue to invest in the infrastructure and the people that they would have to try to even barely keep up to
Yeah.
Amazon and OpenAI, xAI, and all the rest.
I mean, with how fast AI is progressing, that is going to happen more and more, I'm sure, because if
It
you
is.
can't keep up, you're going to be light years behind.
You are.
So then you have to try to work together and figure out, okay, what else can we do? If we can't do it ourselves, then what?
Yeah. And then now you do see some of them too. I think Claude has made it so in their coding you can't use Google anymore, I believe it was.
Okay.
Might have been OpenAI, but they're starting to limit each other because the war is starting to pick up.
Yeah.
And that could eventually mean one of them goes down and the bubble pops too, you know,
Yes.
and that's something else we were kind of talking about.
Yes. Do
Yeah.
you think that there is a bubble that's going to pop?
Not soon, but I think eventually. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think you can have that many big players sustain. And it might not be like a bubble pop, but one might absorb the other,
Yeah.
or two might team up. And then they've got to figure out how to make money. Like OpenAI is going to have ads soon,
Yeah.
which
No.
we'll see how that goes, you know. But if they don't start making money, investors are going to start putting less and less money behind
Sure.
them, which we're seeing that fall off a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's still not, it's not substantial.
Yes. Yeah, I was talking to Selma, the chief economist for Cadali earlier, and she had the same sentiment that you had. It's not going to be like the .com.
No.
Like,
I mean, it could if just like somehow one of them blows up somehow or makes a huge mistake and a blunder, right?
yeah,
Public blunder, and then they just fall.
which could,
And that could do it, but that would just be, it's unlikely.
yes, unlikely.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else we should touch on in this one?
Right? I don't know. What
What are
else?
you most excited about right now? Beginning of 2026, what has you the most hyped in the AI space?
2026 most hyped in AI space. Probably the fact that like voice is getting a lot better to the point
Yeah.
starting to have pretty long conversations with people and they
Yep.
can't tell, and kind of being able to actually analyze video and
Yeah.
pictures better. It's getting to the point. I've talked to a lot of other contractors where they're like, well, I don't think it's going to be able to estimate. I'm like, well, it's not far, man. It's really, really, really not far.
No.
Is it perfect now? No, but I think in 2026 it's going to happen. And I'm even on the software and dashboard sides of things. I think it's just going to pick up and progress, and we're going to see it get better and better.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. That was a lot for an episode, so I think we're
Okay.
good. Yep.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. If you have questions, please reach out to one of us and ask, because truly I've gotten more comments on this podcast series specifically than any other one. So if you have questions, please reach out to ask, and we can maybe do a demo on the next one, maybe
Yep.
demo something that you guys are interested in. So we'll plan for a demo and we'll figure out what that is.
Yep. And we do have a newsletter. So
Yes.
if anybody sees me on LinkedIn or Facebook, you can go to the
Yep.
newsletter and get signed up there. We're always looking for new ideas you guys want us to talk about or tell you about. So,
What's the best way to sign up for the newsletter?
it's Restoration AI, probably through
It's-
LinkedIn.
Yep.
Yep.
And then it's linked also on the CNR website, I believe.
Yep.
So, all right, Dave, thanks for all you do.
Thank
These
you.
podcasts are fun.
Yes. Awesome stuff.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.